I come to you, I just really felt led to do this video on mental illness. And gun control. You know, when it comes to certain things like this, there's not much that gun control can do unless you ban every firearm in the world. This case that happened in this school Friday really had nothing to do with guns. And now I know he had the guns, and you go, what are you talking about? I'm talking about a mental illness, a child that has mental problems and has probably all of his life. I knew a young man, and I still know him. In fact, him and his mother lived in my home for a while. I'm not going to call names. I'm not going to even suggest names. I'm just going to tell you that him and his mother lived in my home. And as long as he was in my home, you know, he was pretty well stable. We talked. I listened to what he said. And he would tell me about things in his head that he wouldn't tell nobody else, not his mom. And see, he caused a lot of trouble at our school. And he even threatened the principal, and the police were called more times than once. And his dad, at the time he lived with his dad, would take him and have him put in Charter Vista, which really didn't do that any good, really. Most time they just kept him zoned out on pills, meds. And if they would ask him questions and he would try to say something, well, then it's automatically, oh, you're hallucinating. You're hearing voices. Well, yeah, he was. But I don't think it was so much hallucination, because the way he would describe it to me, he'd say, there's evil forces in this world. And I said, well, yeah. He says, I've seen them. They're dark. They're evil, and they come to you and talk to you, and I've seen them. They've talked to me. And I said, well, hon, we just need to pray about it, you know. Because he wouldn't talk to the psychiatrists. One, they didn't understand what was going on, and they weren't really capable of handling his problem. They did not understand there was demons really coming to him and speaking to him in his mental sickness that he had, because many things happened to him when he was growing. So I had him at 16 years old, had him calm, and had him, you know, he had quit school, and I had got him into, he took his, he got his diploma by going through, can't even think of the name of it, GED, okay. And I got him through one semester of even college, trying to help him. Well, I knew, and he had told me many times, I hate my mother. I wish she'd die. I really do. And I'd say now, your mother is your mother, whether you like what she does or not. Well, I admit that she wasn't that good of a mother, but he let resentment grow up in him. And when he would see this dark figure that would come and start talking to him, and then him and his mother got into it, and then things developed to the point that she decided to take him out of my home and moved. And he went off to his grandparents for a while and got into drugs and stuff like that, which didn't help the situation at all. And when I'm saying drugs, okay? Like meth and stuff like that, which isn't good for a mind that's not well anyway. Well, he come back, and his mother and him was living in this apartment. And I would see him and talk to him and say, now, you need to go and talk to a psychiatrist anyway. Talk to him. No, don't want to do that. I said, you got to take your medicines. You really do. And I would try to get him to take them, but nope. They make me feel weird. They make me feel funny. I don't like feeling like I'm a zombie walking around. He would say, Barbara, you just don't understand what those pills do to me. And, at that time, he was 18. Well, his mom went off and left him in that apartment by himself for around a week. And when all said was done, one, he tried to hang himself. Two, he draws satanic pictures on the walls with ketchup representing blood. He put ketchup all over the carpets and stuff. He took forks and spoons, metal, and put them in the microwave and set it up. Tried to set it afire. Thank God the breaker blew and before, but you could see where it was sparking and fire was beginning. Because me and my husband went in there and cleaned that apartment. It was terrible. And we tried to get him help then, but see, he was 18. By the laws here in Arkansas, and in most states, because of how they used to treat the mentally ill, abusive things they used to do to them. So the law changed to protect the mentally ill from people that would just put them in an institution for just any reason. So we got the apartment cleaned up and everything, and I tried to get him to move back here with me and my husband, but no, his mother had a fit, and so he moved in with her. And he'd come over and visit, and he was steadily growing worse. He would sit there rocking back and forth. He did this counting thing a lot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, it was maddening the way he would do it. And he would sit up all night long. He wouldn't sleep. He'd sit up all night long. And one night he was carrying on, and I went in there and I said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" "The TV's talking to me." And I said, "It is." And he said, "Yes." I said, "Well, what is it saying?" He says, "It's telling me I need to go kill my mother." And I said, "Now, son, what you're hearing is not really the TV. What you're hearing is in your mind, and it's not good. You need help." And again, I tried to encourage him to take his meds. And he looked at me and he says, God is really evil." And I said, "Well, you know better than that." And he was just talking off his head, and then he wanted to go home. Well, I told his mom, I said, "I have a really bad feeling about this." "Well, no, he's threatened to kill me before. He ain't going to do it, blah, blah, blah. And so, being that he's 18, and I didn't have custody of him anyway, I couldn't do nothing about it. So he went home. So all of a sudden, I'm getting a phone call in hysterics because she's saying he's going crazy again. He's in and he's cutting the telephone lines, he's cutting the cable lines, he's saying that voices are talking to him and people are watching us through the cable lines and through the telephone lines, and they're spying on us and watching us. And I jumped in the car and tried to get over there as fast as I could. And in the meantime, he got the knife and he went to attack his mom, and there was this guy there that happened to manage to tackle him and knock the knife out of his hand and everything. And by then she had called the police, and the police got there, and he's screaming he's going to kill her and all that stuff. I mean, right before the police. So they arrested him and put him in jail, and when they did, they put him on suicidal watch. And I went and seen him, and he begged me to bail him out. Okay. I said, "Now, all right, with conditions. You got to come to the house, you got to stay with me, you cannot be around your mom at all. There is something going on between you and your mom. You cannot be around your mom because you can't hurt her." He says, "Oh, I'll do it, I promise. Well, I bailed him out. The next day, I had to revoke his bail and put him back in because he was planning to go over and kill his mother. And I heard him talking to someone, wasn't there. Okay, that's only how I know what was going to go on. He was going to go kill his mom, come back over here to Pea Ridge, kill his dad and 2 sisters and his grandparents. Well, he called me and my husband his grandparents, so I'm going, wow, I don't know if that's me and Carl that he's talking about, or his real grandparents that live here. I mean, in this state, not here in Pea Ridge, but in this state. So I called the bonds person, revoked his bond, and had him put in jail. Me and his mother fought the courts to get help. We said, this boy needs to be put somewhere for his own protection and everyone else's, because he's capable. He's already tried to kill himself 4 times. 2 times we've had to take him off of his mom, putting all of our life in jeopardy. And the judge simply said, he's 18 years old. We can't force him to do anything. And until he really does harm somebody, I mean really harm them, we can't do nothing with him. And if we do, we'll put him in prison, which you're putting a mentally ill person in prison, which ain't going to help. Well, needless to say, he stayed out. He lives in a house by himself, right here. And I pray continuously over him. He's come to the point that he's totally scared to even go out of the house. But the laws are made where people that are really mentally ill, and the family even try to get them help, the laws are passed that there's no help for them. We can't get help. And he wanted to get a gun even, and I told him, I said, hon, with your mental record saying that you're a schizophrenic, a paranoid schizophrenic, they're not going to let you have a gun. And he just turned around and he looked at me very plainly and he says, you know, I can get a gun anytime I want to and I don't have to buy it. And I'm thinking, okay, you're right. You can pick a gun up anywhere. You can go in a house and steal it. So, I'm telling you this. The gun laws are not going to help. They're just an excuse of the president and trying to disarm everyone for whatever reason to take this country over. What they need to do is change the laws to the point that when someone knows that their child is in trouble, their child, even though they're 18 and 20 like this young man was, that we can put him in an institution if we have to. Not to be abused, but sometimes they have to be put somewhere, not so much for their safety, but our safety, the people's safety. And that's all I can say about it. I've dealt and still deal with a young man much like this young man. And I plead the blood over him daily and asking God to put a barrier around him so that the Satan and the demons cannot come back into his life and torment him. I care for this young man. I really do. I love him. I'm sure as a mother loved her son, who finally killed her and all these little babies and teachers. But if you can't get help for them, what can you do? Just sit there, hold your breath, and wait till they decide to go off the edge and do something hideous like this before anything happens? Now, the young man in Aurora didn't kill himself. He's in jail. He's in prison. I mean, not prison, but he's facing a trial. Now, this young man, Friday, killed himself. So it's over with for him. But do we have to wait? Do we have to wait before they can even have any kind of help or be locked up in prison for life? Let's quit talking about gun laws. Let's talk about help for these mentally ill. And when the family and a friend tries to get help for this person, for not only their protection, because they had tried to commit suicide 3 times, but also for other people's protection. Does this young man have to take a gun and find one and do something evil? According to the law, yes. Yes. I won't give you his name, but I just ask you to pray for him and pray a hedge around him that Satan cannot get to him. The demons cannot get to him to cause him to go over the edge to do something like this. Because he's very intelligent. He's very smart. I mean, he got his GED very quickly. Just because they have a mental illness don't mean they're stupid. So when somebody cries out and says, please help my child, whether they're 18 or 20, young adults, and we that are around them and love them and know there's something going on up here, and that it could be devastating, we're not trying to get them locked up. Like we try to get him sent to Little Rock, to the mental institution. We're not trying to get them locked up just for the heck of locking them up. We love them. We want to protect the public and protect him. So that's just my little insight, because what they're saying about this young man that did this Friday reminds me of the young man that I still love and talk to. And pray for. Blessings in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Let's press for better laws in helping the mentally ill, even over the age of 18. Thank you.